To a certain degree. It's really cold.
There we are.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. This is the April 5th, 2016 Finance Committee meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have a reserve fund transfer request from Conservation Commission. Continued talks on the 2017 budget. And it can look again at the warrant recommendations. I'm not sure we have any changes since last time. We're going to look at those and see if there's any of those we want to make a recommendation on yet. Some of those I know we're going to wait until Board of Selectmen and others vote. I had the annual report that I sent out to the members last week, so we want to talk about that. And then, and along with that, we'll be talking about TV recording. And we have the minutes. And that's it. Welcome, Tom.
Well,
Good to see you. Steve will not be here tonight, so we're complete now. All right, let's do the reserve fund transfer request first.
Sure. We have one reserve fund transfer request from the Conservation Commission. It is for expenses in the amount of $450. Primarily, it's for incurred mileage costs, laminating some conservation land rules and regulation books, and attendance at the Mass Association of Conservation Commissions conference. When we posted their warrant this week, we wiped them right out, so Amy and I sat down and I said, I think you're gonna, need to request something or do a reckoning for your expenses, so she was able to put this together. She feels the $450 would get her through the end of the year. I would point out that I think that Amy is doing, a great job in that she's doing a lot more of the field work and everything in-house that's been done in the past. When I looked at her budget, she's going to be under budget for her wages significantly by several $1,000s. See if I can get that open here. Because when the position was originally budgeted, they figured they were going to need like a 30-hour-a-week position, and Amy's been able to do it in significantly less number of hours. So if you look at what's on the screen, the wages were budgeted at just over $35,000 for the year, and she's less than 50% expended, being 75% in the year. So she's going to be turning back the wages for the year end, but I can't use the wage money when it's appropriated that way on expenses. The budget for next year has been adjusted. She recognized that she's able to deal with that. So there's about, a significant amount that's going to be turned back in wages. If you're not comfortable with the reserve fund transfer request, what we could do in May and June is one of the year-end transfers, transferring money from wages to expenses. I just hated to hold her up on any bills that she might have due through year-end. But I did want to point that out because I think it's significant for the department.
Now, is the $1,000 in expenses sufficient for the 2017 recommended budget? Because this year it's 1,000, and it sounds like they're blowing over, so
Yeah.
She
thinks that she can do it on the $1,200 that she had requested for next year. The expenses were level funded at $1,000, but in her mission request, she had requested $1,200, which would be another, a $200 increase. I think we can.
And you had said one of the bigger drivers in this rather small amount was the dues, which is probably a direct product of there being a vacancy there, right? No one was there to do it, so you get two piled up in 1 year. I mean, I think Fred asked the right question in the emails earlier. The money is nothing. I just hate to set any precedent for people just to find an excuse to use the reserve fund. In this case, that's enough reason for me. I don't know, what the hell, let's do the simple thing and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. But again, my question, so with that,
I think
she's okay with the grant or closer?
She's close with the grant, yeah.
Okay.
Is there a dollar amount?
What's that?
It's not worth it. I'm not gonna say anything.
So the amount's $450 that they're requesting.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is $450 on a $1,000 line item, so that's significant. But we already went through that, and we went through the discussion, I think, so.
So
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for $450 reserve fund transfer request to the Conservation Commission line item, what is it?
171.
171.
Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Okay.
We have a second squared.
Second
Actually
one?
are.
We have a second squared.
Okay. Budget update, Bonnie? You wanna?
We did meet with the chairman of the school committee last week twice, Steve Venuti and myself. We did present him with the information that I shared with you last week. I provided you again with the sheet tonight, and I'd just like to walk through it again. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here. But basically what we did is, we wanted to show, let's see, there we go. We just basically wanted to go through and show them that, based on the information provided by the school committee, these aren't necessarily our numbers here, that their budget could be supported on the $700,000 appropriation that I was originally recommending, and that would require the use of school choice spending in the amount of $327,000 and not the 480 some odd thousand that was discussed at the joint meeting a few weeks ago. And so I just want to walk through, I know some of you have looked at this and some of you haven't, but, so the first thing we have is to start where the 2016 budget was. The town meeting appropriation was $17,250,000. In their budget worksheets that they provided, their reserve and revolving account spending was budgeted at $3,039,787,000. So their total spending would be $20,289,787. Now, in the meeting that we sat down with them a few weeks ago, they did show an increase in the school choice spending they had originally planned on for fiscal 2016 in the amount of just about $250,000. So we included that in there. So the total spending for 2016 would be just over $20,500,000. In that, we have agreed that there are certain things that are definitely cost increases. One of them is the salary increases, the steps and lanes that are due for the staffing as they sit today. Water bill increases. They are looking for 2 additional staff people to address the population demographics at Russell Street and at the high school. They were looking for a materials and resources increase of $100,000 and an increase in the case transportation contract of $37,000. What was requested was an increase for substitute costs, an increase in occupational therapy, and an increase in special ed spending. However, these costs are already in their spending plan up here, which uses the appropriation and the reserves. So they're not increases. They're already being spent currently, okay? So we push those out as not being an increase. So the total cost-driven increases, and that again includes the new staffing and everything, is $817,000 and change. So the total school spending for 2017 would be just over $21,357,000. So if you take that figure, and then you subtract out from the school's spreadsheet that they provided that looked like this, and I have it PDF here. They had proposed spending $3,230,000 in reserves, and that had their school choice reserve spending at $250,000, not the $486,000. So if we back that out, and then back out the town meeting appropriation for this year, the increase is $877,182. We did move $100,000 for the materials and resources. We moved that out. We addressed that in the capital plan. It's a $50,000 net change because they offered up some funding from Tiger's Den to do some of the paving work in a different article. The difference is $777,182. So we had originally recommended a $700,000 increase, which would leave a $77,000 delta. Now, this spending was based on spending school choice at $250,000. So they had agreed to, in the meeting that we had a few weeks ago, of increasing their school choice spending to $486,000 based on the numbers that they were looking at. But this would only require an increase to $327,000, not the $486,000. So it would keep them in a better situation with their reserves. And again, the use of the revolving funds and reserves are as the school committee appropriated them. They're not based on my recommendations or anybody else's. This is how they had provided the spending plan to the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen. So we did sit down, reviewed it twice. Mike had said he was going to come back and meet with us. I did send an email out today saying, I'm hoping that we can have that meeting prior to Friday so that I can have some, update to the selectmen before the meeting on Monday, because we'd like to have that obviously resolved by then.
I'd like to have had it before this meeting.
Yeah. As part of the discussion too, in the previous meeting, one of the tasks that I was asked to do was go back and look at the revenues to see if any gains could have been made to provide additional funding. When I started to look through, I lost $44,000 in new growth revenue. It's based on where the permits are right now. I have no new information on state aid, and it looks like that is flat at this point, because while the aid went up, the assessments also went up for charter out and choice out. So I'm kind of flat there. I needed to make up the 44,000 at least in order to keep myself, balanced at the 700,000. I'm still working on that. We just closed, obviously, the last day of the month was Thursday. We finally posted all the revenues yesterday for the banking transactions that come in, and my collectors reconciled. So I'm going through the receivables now to try and.
Is that revised revenue estimate reflected here or not?
No.
It's not.
No.
So your delta is really about $110,000?
Well, I was balanced at 700,000. At the 800,000, I was off $100,259. But then I lost another 44,000. So I need to, try and regain that and anything else that I can grab that looks sustainable and recurring, obviously.
Was Mike presented with this chart
This
though?
yes.
And how did he, what was his, was he in basic agreement with the numbers, or what was the?
He agreed with the numbers because, we showed him
Yep.
that these came directly from, their worksheets. We adjusted it for the increase that they had here. This is their proposal for spending for 2017 and has been, and with the lower, school choice number. We really focused on saying that you need, looking at the holistic approach, the whole spending plan, not just the appropriation versus the revolving account versus, and that, looking at the whole spending plan, this keeps them funded at the level that they need. So he didn't disagree with that. He wanted to go and, absorb it a little bit more over the weekend, and then get together this week, so. That's where we're at. So I'm hoping that we,
So the 700 plus the 50 that we moved over to capital is really 750 in spending versus the 800. So I mean, we really aren't that far away.
No.
And, I mean, if you look at the capital, we're funding about 100,000 in computer, either leases or updates on the capital list that they're getting, and 150,000 of, quote, school resource materials, which is also documented here, but it's basically elementary level social studies curriculum, middle school digital science textbooks and materials. So, we're funding upgrades to several of the programs as well that they're requesting. So just sort of keep that in the back of your mind when you think about how much we're increasing the school appropriation.
I'm with you on that. What I look at here, I know the $486,000 meeting number came out at the morning meeting, but
Right.
I remember that as being kind of like the outer parameter where we could go, but not that anybody was willing to
Right.
go there.
right, but this is, this is at 327.
Right, but even still, that requires not only the school committee to commit that, but us to sign off on it when that kind of goes against what we had been encouraging them to do with those funds anyways, right?
Which the
School choice.
well, historically, when the, quote, 600,000 number came up, the schools had very little in the way of reserve funds. And, we basically pulled $600,000 out of the air back when their reserves were like 50 to 100 grand, and we were getting $200,000 surprises that we had to come up with in the special town meeting every year. And, I mean, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at what they have in reserve fund, they have several different reserve funds in their control, which are, if you add up all their reserves, it's got to
that-
be well north
Yeah,
of,
get that other.
it's got to be, I don't know.
But
My guess is it's
well,
more like $1
specifically,
million
we're
bucks.
referencing the school choice. I'm just
Right.
wondering what that does to the
That was-
balance of what it's projected to come in on that and what we're projecting to take out of it and what we leave for a
If they
balance.
keep it at the 327, they would still have about 600,000 remaining.
Well, how much do they bring into that each year? Are we,
About 400,000.
okay.
Yeah, but this is choice, you're talking?
Yes,
Yeah,
choice.
okay, okay, yeah.
I mean, that's close to washing it all out when we should at least have some degree of savings there too, right, to build up that account?
Well, there'll be a 600,000 balance in there with that.
$600,000 balance, but going forward, we're
After.
projecting to spend 327 out of about a projected $400,000 revenue stream, right? I guess that's all right.
Yeah,
It's
so,
It's about.
yeah, you're not, they're saying they're not even
Not losing
saying
any,
it.
no, but the growth is less than we had, if we were looking to build up that balance, then we're not doing much in that direction, but we're not reducing it either.
Well, yeah, the number that Mike mentioned was 600,000.
Right.
And again, the 600,000 came about when, that was basically their total reserve. And now it's become sort of the reserve on choice.
Okay, so in this 2017 estimated spending plan, you can see they had planned on the original 250,000 in school choice funds, and this is where I got the 3,230,089 that I referenced in my other worksheet. So at this level, with 400 estimated for school choice receipts, which I think is a little low based on what I have for state aid right now, that would leave 668. Spending the 327 would draw that down by another 77,000. So you're still in the 600,000 neighborhood for school choice and not spending, the full amount that you're bringing in.
So with these numbers, you would expect their reserves to be in the $2 million range at the end of the day?
Correct. And they're expecting it to be in
Yeah,
the $2 million
so I mean,
range.
I think that's pretty safe umbrella to have there.
Yep.
Now, there may be some, are there any restrictions on what they can use any of these accounts for?
Well, school choice can be used for anything.
Okay,
SPED, circuit breaker, has to be used for special
Yeah, yeah,
ed costs.
okay.
And they primarily use it for tuition out
Yeah.
payments. The other things are used for the programs, but what typically will happen is they will take pre-K tuition, for an example. If they have more, they can spend more pre-K tuition and reduce the expenditure from the general fund. So it's a matter of which.
It's accounting.
okay, but which of those line items does the school committee or the school administration not have discretion over? The 800,000, they don't have all that much discretion because it has to stay within SPED?
It has to be used for SPED, but it has to be spent.
Within SPED?
Right.
Are the other
And we
ones
never have a
all
problem
What's your
discretion?
sped budget, though? I mean,
Oh, it's,
Right.
$3 million, yeah.
Can't.
Several million, right?
Right.
So, I mean,
And generally, their
So is the other-
surprises are spent.
is the other 1.2 million pretty much discretionary where they spend it?
They spend it on the program, so like they would use, the Tiger's Den money, for example, on Tiger's Den expenditures. But, as seen from the last meeting, they were willing to draw down, some of that
Okay, for other things?
for the paving outside, because you can associate it with that
Yep,
particular
that's fair.
program.
Yep, okay.
So any of the accounts here,
Okay.
as long as they
Good.
have that
Okay,
process.
so they're pretty religious about staying within the line items?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, if this is a plan they sign on with, I hope that they do, because it seems reasonable. They get what they've requested essentially, and you know, we're not playing any games with the accounts, they're maintaining the integrity.
It feels okay.
They may be getting less of an appropriation, and, you know, unless that was part of the agenda, then, you know, other than that, which is good news on our end if it doesn't happen.
Yep.
But you're still gonna have about a $44,000 hole just based on,
Yeah, I have to
revenue
finish-
estimates?
Right now, I have 44. I'm going through the excise receipts right now. I just downloaded all the commitments, so
Okay.
I can figure out what's aging off and,
You know, my new truck is a couple years newer than the one I had before, but I don't think that's gonna help you out much.
I'm gonna be coming in for debate, so.
No.
Not until after the first of the year, right?
will we get a reserve fund transfer request from you for 44,000?
yeah, no, you won't.
Well, it's for you, right?
All righty, but realistically, even at this time of year, being within 40 grand is pretty
Sure.
damn good,
Yep.
so. Okay, well,
If we were in the black to 44 grand, we'd be fighting, we'd have a room full of people here fighting to spend it, so.
okay. So with what we've heard, are we as a group okay saying this, you know, unless the schools can come back and sort of show the finance team where the 700 is wrong, that we would support the 700 going forward and the incremental spending and capital. I mean, I'm okay with that.
In the use of the reserve funds, et cetera, yeah.
Yeah,
I have no problem with
I
that.
think so.
I'd like to be kept apprised of any ongoing discussion.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
We definitely, want to get together this week, so.
Okay, good.
And it's still a big increase from last year as
Sure.
well. I mean, last year, the increase was 500 something, right?
50, 5.
Yep.
So it's 7 or 750 this year, so it's still
Well,
a good
Pretty
bump.
sizable.
And they were able to, I mean, we've got extra teachers in this budget, but they also added teachers last year as
Right.
well. So it's not like they
Right.
haven't been able to do some things going along as well. So we want to make sure we are funding them appropriately, and I think, it seems to me that we are, that they do still have the room to do the things, some extra things that they need to do.
You guys both have kids in the school system?
I do
Not anymore?
I do. I will.
Is your sense that this feels okay? I mean, I don't and haven't had for a long time, but I just, okay. Good.
Thank you.
I'll compare it.
All righty.
Okay,
Did you want me to walk you through the slides for town meeting? Like, were they, not your slides, but Keith's, the ones that we're preparing for the articles? Do you care to see them, or do you?
I don't know. What, the ones that we didn't vote on last, and we still can't, because they're budget related, right?
Well, there's the.
Or
track-
they're the track, which we
track
said we're not gonna do until
article.
the Board of Selectmen votes.
Yep, and the CPC article, because they're,
They meet tomorrow night.
they're meeting with
Okay,
the selectmen at
Okay.
the meeting that you're
Okay.
meeting with. So they'll be
Right.
there on the 11th. And we're also gathering the final pieces to do the blended CPC funds. We've had a couple of more sales for different, Reed Meadow and a few others. So we're getting close to that 2% match. I think we're about 15,000 away, so we need like one more sale before now in town meeting. So we're hoping that we get all of that. The urge to do that is because if we can get that extra 15,000, I think we get about, based on last year's match, we get about 65,000
Extra.
in state matching funds, because we qualify for rounds 2 and 3. If we don't get the 15,000, we don't get it, period. It's not like you get a percentage of it, you
Percentage of
just,
it, it's
you
all
don't get
or
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we can get another 15,000 in there, then, we'll qualify for the
Right.
same round.
so the expectation is that you just update these the night of at town meeting to put the final numbers in for all these things in, basically?
Yeah, we're hoping, we're gonna have to go to press next Tuesday, so we'll
Right.
have to go to press with whatever we have. If we get another sale in, then, between now and then, we'll have it ready to go.
Okay,
But the other things, if we, for an example, if we don't have agreement on the budget, we might have to make some changes at, town meeting with the motion
Yep.
that we make on the floor. Hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully we can
Okay.
go in there.
okay.
Now, the only article that we didn't vote on that I think we might be able to would be the water department. There was one,
One they
oh, the
withdrew?
cell tower
Yes,
thing.
they withdrew.
It was
They withdrew
a cell
that.
tower thing.
They withdrew it, though.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, so that's off the table.
Right.
The other thing that I wanted to update you on is the,
Upstairs, Al. You looking for the Democratic Town Committee?
That's what I'm here for, I guess, is the
Room 230 of the Council on Aging,
next room down.
upstairs.
Upstairs.
2:30.
Thank you.
the tax title abutter program. That, those two lots,
Yep.
that might get pulled. My gut is telling me it's gonna get pulled, and I'll explain when you can see the map here. Okay, so, I'm gonna walk up here.
Excuse me.
Show you. So these, all right, I think the abutters program is these two pieces here. They're both less than 4,800 square feet, so 114 and 113. They're tiny little pieces of tax title property. So those are here. 111 and 115 are also town-owned property. This is not. There's an anomaly in the map here. So this strip is all town-owned. There was a request from an abutter at 124
Oh, okay.
to purchase these, but the intent is to make it combine it all and make it like a buildable lot.
Yeah.
So the selectmen, I think, are revisiting that, because that wasn't really the intent of the abutters program to begin with. And these would come through with deed restrictions, but they might build a house here and just have this,
Septic
adjacent
or
for
something.
septic or something like that. But if they want to look at it again, you might be able to do like a habitat home, or, if they were going to allow for some dedevelopment.
Who's they? They is the Board of
Select-
Selectmen, and when
yeah.
you say that? Okay.
Yeah,
Just wanna make sure we're talking
so
about-
they're gonna revisit this issue, I think, on Monday night to see, do they really wanna let it go for another house to be built? And if they did, then would they want it to be something that would count towards the affordable housing stock or not? So that might get pulled.
What's that land worth? If it's a buildable lot, what's that land worth?
More.
I think it's like 116,000 is what the assessed value is on it.
And normally we'd
But
sell them
that's-
for pennies on the dollar if they're for the tax title.
Well, these,
If they were just by themselves,
yeah,
that's okay.
these
right?
two
But-
pieces are, a few $1,000s a piece.
Right.
Because
But it's what
they're-
they become when they, yeah.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
So-
all those three lots together are a quarter of an acre.
But combined with the 124, right? Isn't
yeah,
that
Yeah,
the
it's
thing?
124 that's looking
Well,
at it.
124, 114, and 113 together are actually less than a quarter of an acre.
Is 124 already built on?
No, but
No.
So
it's looking to be, they're looking to.
I don't know what our zoning allows.
That's
but
still one
I
acre
would-
zoning, unless you got a pre-existing structure, you gotta keep one wall up.
or so- Yeah, so I don't understand.
It's
if there's nothing-
grandfathered.
It's 5,000 square feet.
Yeah,
As
not
long
if
as
it's not built.
5,000 square feet. It might be a buildable lot. And it has
It's,
to have 50
5
feet of frontage.
It's like it's about
has 60 feet of frontage.
.46.
Yeah, if you,
So-
that whole thing, that
All
whole strip.
all four
Yeah,
lots.
so that's a half acre, that's what I was saying, that top swath there is about a half, but the three lots that she was just talking about is a quarter, less than a quarter of an acre, so I didn't realize you could build on a 5,000 square foot lot in Littleton, but
Could be, yeah, you could be.
apparently you
Well, if you
can.
can put the septic in, technically
Right.
you can do it.
Right.
That's the whole question, is whether or not you can put a septic on the
Right.
property, because they're
So-
grandfathered lots.
I remember reading that tax title butter lot sales
Even if it's
program,
unbuilt, you can do
and
it.
it specifically prohibits
Because they're grandfathered.
buying it
It's not like you're
to end
subdividing
up
it.
with a
It already
buildable
was
lot.
subdivided, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Pre-existing
What it
non-conforming.
does is it,
I thought that only applied when there was a structure on there, I know that, but
having a
the part
structure
I
built
missed was I
on
thought
it
you had to
for,
have it.
like a house built
structure
on
there.
it. But I think you can use it for septic, so if they built a house
Oh, yeah,
there-
you use it for septic, but it says you can't you can't buy that and combine it to build a house.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
They won't, it doesn't qualify for the program.
No, it would qualify for the program, because we looked at it and it would qualify for the
But
program.
if that's the
So
case,
They might pull it, they might
why
just say,
wouldn't
forget
we
it.
why wouldn't we put those four lots together and market it as a half acre lot?
Right,
Well, once upon a time, the theory was that we weren't looking to add more houses, but add more open space in the lake area, let people have their expanded lots. I mean, it's just purely a selectman's policy decision, that could change.
Let's put a soccer field, because we're not gonna get soccer fields at Cooper, so.
saying
Put a
that,
soccer field on,
that was an opinion of a board 20 years ago.
Let's put turf down. There you go. A turf farm. Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to give you that information, that will,
so is it the intent that the selectmen will pull it?
it is the intent that they'll discuss it on Monday, and my gut says they might pull it.
That would make sense.
But if it's a habitat, that's another thing that you could do, would be a habitat house or something.
But they're not gonna get that together, that kind of arrangement.
No, but I mean, I'm just sort of doodling stuff around.
Yeah, good discussions.
Interesting.
Let's see, what else do we have? Anything else? I think that was it. So you're withholding on the track for the discussion and the CPC deposits in. So we should hopefully have that wrapped up next week.
Had you guys heard anything from, you're more connected with the Board of Selectmen and so on, I had some discussions with Jim Carr over the weekend
I did
about
too.
trying to broaden this to not just be alumni field, so it really is broader for all the fields, and so there was some discussion back and forth, and he said he was gonna talk to some folks and get back to me, but I haven't heard back, so.
I got the same conversation, and I talked to him on Friday after we talked.
Okay, and I didn't know if they were gonna send somebody tonight to update us, but nobody here, so I guess not. Okay. Okay,
Seriously, I've been hearing rumblings around town that maybe the fields aren't gonna be included in the Cooper deal. Is there anything on the jungle drums on that, or? Yeah, I just don't know, okay.
Haven't heard anything.
Is the offer off the table? No, it's actually transfer station talk, so I have no idea that, but usually it's pretty good down there.
that's usually, especially on Wednesdays.
Wednesday, yeah. You can hear the echoes down there on Wednesday.
This conversation.
I know, but it's
I
always good,
railed
it's
and
always good
railed
for a
and
chuckle,
railed.
though, you know?
About the Wednesday thing, I said, they don't need that. I found myself there 2 Wednesdays in a row.
You were the other one.
I was the other guy.
So I
Okay.
will communicate to the school department, the
Our
information
expectation at
tonight.
this point is 700,000. And we gotta have a balanced budget
Just
to go
so
to
that
town
we can get a
meeting, so
together, and I'll let you know.
if
as
it's something
soon as-
different than that, then somebody else is gonna have to get cut, and that's tough. Okay,
Anything else? If we don't have any articles.
not from the warrant, and I don't think there's any reason to go through the selectmen slides unless you really want, unless you think there's
No, I
some
think
reason
I
in there.
showed you, I mean, that was one of the slides.
Spoil the excitement?
Yeah, there we go, exactly. Okay, how about the annual report? Any comments on that? You had a chance to read it, now it's not that long, but I
job
just
well
want to
done.
make sure that people read it and understood it, and if so, we'll just go with that.
I'll
And once
drop
we
those
put the real numbers in, but,
That are- yep.
okay?
It's an
We need to
girl.
vote on that or anything, or just a verbal, everybody is agreement, no conversation?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, all right.
Do you want to vote? I don't care, it doesn't.
No, it's okay, I just want to make sure that, like
Okay,
I
yeah,
said, I
I'm
put it
fine
out
with
there and say this is coming from, I write it, but it's basically the finance committee says, and the finance committee this and that, so I want to make sure that people are,
Make sure the minutes reflect that we all assented to it, right, Marilyn? Yep.
Yep.
all right? And then in addition to that, and getting these final numbers, then we'll work on slides, and I've sent an email, I've been back and forth with Kirby a little bit on getting us scheduled, so we can go in there and do that.
Whenever, yeah,
Recording next week sometime, probably.
normally Wednesdays are bad for me.
Okay, all right.
You're at the dump, huh?
Yeah. Put on the pump. Why, he's quick.
We could do it on site.
There you go, right. That's my 15-month-old granddaughter, and there's, nothing gets in the way of that.
Okay, there we go. All right, well, this is gonna be a quick meeting, I guess, then, huh? All right, minutes from
Looks like I won't miss that other meeting after all.
March 27th. We can see what we can do for you, Paul.
I'll put the slides up if you want to.
Oh, that's-
So we have the minutes from March 22nd. Marilyn sent out the revised ones, that we don't have the 29th ones yet, but,
Betsy caught a quote that was attributed to me that wasn't mine. I said plenty of things, but whatever it wasn't that one last quote. Did you already address that one?
I didn't know that, no one.
It was toward the end of the, I don't have it printed.
it was about the turf fields, it was that
It was in
conversation.
it was in the
Paul
the
said,
final
you know, like,
paragraph.
we'll just pull it, and I
Just-
said,
Strike it. if
Yeah,
you
whatever
can't.
that comment is.
Strike it.
Okay, let's make sure she gets it, and then we can
Yeah.
vote as amended, right?
What it was is if the committee is not starting till mid-April, then maybe we should pull the article from the warrant.
Yeah, I don't think I said that.
That's fine. Just strike that sentence. I think that's fine.
Just the sentence, or then, because he also said maybe Fred should be on the committee.
Yeah, I said that, I remember saying that, but I didn't realize we had already appointed Tom. Or-
Okay, so you want to scratch that whole paragraph?
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. I mean, Tom's the guy, unless you don't want to, Tom. I mean, I think you're in it up to your ears, and I think.
You
it's
already
important.
agreed.
Oh, yeah.
No going back, it's not checkers. You took your fingers off.
That's
right. Huh?
He wasn't here, so of course he got,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's how it
yeah,
is.
That's how it happens.
That's all right, he's
You get
agreed.
assigned to it
He
because you weren't
agreed, he
there.
knew.
That's right, right. I couldn't
You
stand up
knew
for
what you were
myself.
doing, right?
Okay, motion,
As amended.
Second?
all's in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, the next meeting is April something, the end of April, the last week, I think. I will not be here, I'll be out of town, but, and
Is it the 26th?
Greg won't be here either?
Yeah, the 26th.
So we'll see what we need to get done.
Are we joint with the selectmen
Yes.
on the 11th?
Yes, next week.
Yeah, it might be questionable for that, but.
I didn't know we were
hopefully
joint with them, maybe they had a
Yes,
meeting,
that
do we
was
know
news to
that?
me when I
Everybody,
saw
yeah,
it
from
today,
the
too.
last joint meeting, remember, they were
It
trying
was
to.
the
They
school
just throw it out and they just assume we're gonna be there, and nobody ever says, book it or agenda, yeah, you know how it works. You can fix that, or whoever.
But at least you can have my ear and I'll do my best.
All right, so then I'll know, then our next meeting then is April 11th. If, who here, is there people that know they won't be here? You're not, you're
I'm iffy
iffy,
for
you're
Monday,
iffy?
yeah.
All right, well, whatever, if we don't have a quorum, we don't.
Yeah, I
but-
mean,
Okay.
at least you're here tonight, you've communicated that.
Right.
so I can-
And if you,
I'll be here.
It's Red Sox opening day. If the weather's lousy, I'll probably not go in. If it isn't, I mean, no big business commitment, I'll just be honest with you.
Okay, that's
we'll
quite all right.
beam you in, right?
That's right, huh?
We'll
That's
Skype
right,
you in.
that's right.
Your commitment, Paul. Mine's usually business related.
Yeah, well, at least that's what you tell us.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
all right, all right, in favor? Thank you very much.
Aye.
Thank you, good night.
Thank you.